Lana Quest,
Brian Randall.
how are you?
I'm good. You know what I just found out? I don't know if this changes look. You can't tell. Like the
Oh, are
light
you
is
talking about your
turning.
ring light?
It's turning different colors. It's like red, green,
Why
orange.
I wonder if mine does that.
Maybe this is a kid's,
I'm checking.
so it's
Oh, it
yeah.
kind of does.
Well, I know it gets like dim and whatever. This turns green. I don't know why anyone would want a green or a red ring light. That doesn't.
Well, I was talking to Lana before we got on here. For her, the benefit is it doesn't matter what light she's in, she looks good. I need all kinds of shit. So
So that's not true, but thank you.
yes, it is. But how are you? Welcome to Black and White with Brian Rundle and Lana
Is
Quest.
that where we are today? I'm like just so confused. And my bun is just like it's not symmetric. It's just that's killing me. It's killing me.
I told you it
Okay,
doesn't matter. You're good. I
let
mean,
me just keep
you've
talking.
got
I'm gonna fix this.
a nice head of hair. I got to throw a hat on, so appearances, if you don't mind, let's not um let's not do that cuz it's um you look great. But anyway,
Thank you. You do too. How are you?
okay. We are very long week since we have been on. A lot has been happening. Did anything happen interesting to you over the last week before we get started?
No, my living room is finally finished, so I don't have
Is
all
it?
the commotion and the dust and everything. So I'm happy about that.
This has
Yeah.
been a long project.
It's just been an update of a living room. This is like flooring and paint and electrical. I mean, I guess.
Yeah,
So yeah,
good.
cleaning up now. You know what happens? Okay, so anyone in the Northeast right now, like last week, we're in
Yeah.
the cold snap. So it was like really cold, 17 degrees, 10 degrees. Now it's a little better. We're like, I think we may have hit 40 today, but it was so cold and so icy that it was just like, salt, sand everywhere. I am mopping every day because you're just walking in, even when you
The
put
ice
your
melting.
yeah, and you have the salt sand on the bottom. Even when you leave your shoes at the door, there ends up being salt all around, and then they walk with their slippers, and it's just and the dogs. This is the
Yeah.
animals are bringing it in, and I just like that drives me crazy.
Well, living in Florida, I can relate because that's happened 0 times to me.
Right, that's
0.
what I'm saying. You're so fortunate. Like you can keep your good floors all shiny and like polished, and I'm just like, what? I just did this floor last night. Why does it look like this?
Yeah, yeah, I'm that is something I definitely do not envy. I don't, I envy the fact that you live in an area that is coherent when it comes to what's going on politically.
That is
Um,
true. That's true.
so I don't know if the trade-off is something that you would be interested in
No,
because I
no.
live in a shit show of a state. And we will certainly talk about that a little bit more with a lot of the news that has happened over the week. But would you like to get started, Lana?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Well, we'll start with the news that's going on actually right now as we speak. New Hampshire is having a primary for the Republican presidency. It is now down to 2 people, which is hilarious. And we will talk about that a little bit later. But it is now down to Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. As I'm looking right now, the live primary results are showing Donald Trump at 54% and Nikki Haley at 45%. There are like 19 candidates that you can vote for in the New Hampshire primary.
Yeah, like who are those people?
I don't know, but there are a couple of funny things here. Like so far, Asa Hutchinson got 0 votes. Tim Scott has 1. One vote so far.
You
Doug
know what?
Burnham. Yeah, go
Tim
ahead.
Scott deserves 1 vote after that speech he gave with Donald Trump. Did you
I'm
see that up?
you know what? I didn't because here's the problem. problem that I have on this little thing, and I don't know, I think I can pay more and get more, but I'm only relegated
Oh,
to 10 clips, so I have to
okay.
pick, 10 clips that I can play. But right now, Tim Scott does have 1 vote. Vivek Ramaswamy has
One
14.
vote. Like,
Yeah.
that is wild.
You know what's awesome? Vivek Ramaswamy has 14 votes, Mike Pence has 16, and Chris Christie has 40. So,
What?
um,
But that kind of makes sense, right? Because New Hampshire is that state. Like, they still have the people there that are just they're independent, right? Or like a
yeah,
lot of them, like, you know what? I don't like none of them.
right.
Chris Christie is. I like what he was saying. I'm just right. Like, wow. I mean,
You've got
hey,
that many people voting for Nikki Haley. So Nikki Haley,
true.
and I don't know. We'll get into that a little
Okay.
bit here in a minute, but as of right now, we see Donald Trump with around a little under 10% lead over Nikki Haley, which I'm not sure Lana or myself or anybody else expected Nikki Haley to win. But I think the showing is maybe going to catapult her to her own home state of South Carolina next week, and she'll get excited. She's going to lose that. And then when she
Big
loses
time.
that,
It's a big,
yeah,
yeah.
when she loses that, I'm afraid we know what's going to happen. But let's explore that a little bit. Um, Donald Trump. First of all, before we get into Donald Trump, I want to go back and talk about our current president and our vice president.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Let's talk about them and talk about again why I am sitting here and Lana is sitting up there wondering why we are in a battle with somebody with 91 felony counts who is clearly in a state of some sort of mental acuity issues.
Bing, bam, pow, whoosh. I mean, just saying.
And we got a couple of those clips. And I mean, it is unbelievable to me that Joe Biden, first of all, not only has a record that he can run on that is not just good, it is great. It is a
Right.
great record that he
Mhm.
can run on. And we are sitting here being gaslighted by
Right.
a lot of people in this country as to, gosh, I really don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can vote for either one of them. Or even somebody going, I can vote for Donald Trump over that clown, which to me is so bizarre. Explain it to me, Lana. Why? Why is this continuing to happen? I know why. I think you know why, but I just need to hear something because it drives me insane.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. And I don't think it's anything that the Biden administration can do, right? It's just like if you're not paying attention, then you're going to think that it's the economy. Like they're
Mhm.
just repeating what they hear. They're not looking at any evidence. They're not looking at, oh, the Dow closed at the highest in all of the history. Like they're not hearing any of that. Like the economy is doing great. And the economy does not equal your bank account. And it
Correct.
doesn't equal my bank account.
Correct.
Because if it equaled my bank account, I would be crying about the economy too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Biden is not responsible for the excess credit cards or the excess spending that we have. Biden is not responsible for the cost of your french fries despite what Donald Trump Jr. said. Like he's just not.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring that up. I mean, Donald Trump Jr. has the gall to be interviewed saying, I take my kids to fast food restaurants and I have
What?
sticker shock. First of all,
Sticker shock? Like a
yeah,
sticker? Like when he looks at the price tag on the hamburger?
that's what he says. Yes, he's shocked by the price of hamburgers at McDonald's. But you're right. I mean, we've said millions of times
Millions.
the right-wing media apparatus is so strong, and they have subsets too. It's not just the Fox
Right.
News, it's not
Right.
just Newsmax, it's
Right.
these podcasters, it's all
Right.
these people
Right.
that
Right.
these dudes
Yeah.
listen to,
Yeah.
and they take everything as gospel. They take
Oh,
everything that, oh, this guy sounds smart when he talks about it, so it must be true. And if you sat down with any of the people listening to it, they couldn't tell you a damn thing about the economy. They couldn't tell you a damn thing. All they could tell you is the economy sucks and that everything is bad and that we need somebody different, which again is not true. The best thing that they have going for them is that Joe Biden was born in the early 40s, and he may not have the same sort of fight to go after
right.
everything that he needs to fight for. But he really shouldn't have to. In a perfect world will tell you that there's A and there's B, and B shouldn't even be on the ballot. So, I mean, it's just frustrating to me. It's frustrating to me to hear people talk about Joe Biden. It's frustrating to hear me talk about the Democrats and what they're trying to do. And I mean, I just it makes me sick. And I really hope, and I do think, I don't know, Lana, if you've seen a lot of the Nikki Haley voters I have seen being interviewed after they vote. And a lot of them said, I voted for Nikki Haley. I cannot vote for Donald Trump.
Right.
I never will vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And that's encouraging. And
Right.
the only issue I think that we're going to run into is, what do you think Nikki Haley's going to do as soon as she's kicked out of this race?
Endorse Donald Trump.
That's exactly what she's going to do. And it's just sad and it's pathetic and it's just.
But that's okay, because like you said, I don't think nobody gives a fuck who these people endorse. Like no one.
True.
I don't think anyone really goes, oh my God, Tim Scott is endorsing Donald Trump. I'm going to vote for him. He got one vote in New Hampshire. Like nobody cares. Like,
Lana, Donald Trump might lose votes with Tim Scott endorsing him the way he endorsed him.
right.
It was so embarrassing.
Right. So if someone is voting for Nikki Haley, that means like they want to change from Donald Trump. Like those are the people that long for the old Republican party back, not knowing that, as we know, Nikki Haley is not a part of the old Republican Party. She has changed. She's not. I don't see her as that. She's same as Trump. I mean, she's just softer voice, but she said Ron DeSantis' "Don't Say Gay" bill did not go far enough. She said that.
Yeah.
The same thing with the abortion.
Yeah, there's no question. She is, and I've seen a lot of people have said it, and the comparison is she's Donald Trump in heels, and that's what it comes down to. Let me ask you an interesting question. If there because there is a real possibility that Donald Trump could win. I personally don't think he will. I think America comes to their senses at the end of the day, because they came to their senses in 2018, in 2020, in 2022. I don't know what has happened over the last couple of years where people are going to go, shit, maybe we need to go back to Donald Trump, because he's gotten better since 2016. But the interesting question is, if the fear of Donald Trump winning versus a Republican candidate that is like an old school Republican candidate, would you vote for that person if you felt like that would save democracy over Joe Biden?
Would I vote for a different, a real conservative candidate over Joe Biden?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, and maybe I'm posing that question wrong, and I'm in my head, I'm thinking the question is smart, and as it's coming out, I'm realizing it's not.
I know what you mean, right? Like I think, like, if we thought that Joe Biden would not win,
right,
what would I do with my vote?
Right.
Would I just,
if you thought there was no chance Joe Biden could win, but they're kind of
It's the
was, but you
same, but
felt
it's the same thing, right? Like if I'm willing to vote for that conservative, you mean in the primary or you mean the general,
I'm
right?
talking about, yeah, in the general. I'm talking about an
Yeah,
old school
it's
Republican,
the
like,
same. Like, so even if I voted for Joe Biden, he lost, I still get that conservative. Like, it doesn't matter either way with
but
it.
it does. I mean, because it's somebody like a Paul Ryan over a Donald Trump. Paul
I'm
Ryan even
not gonna
came
vote.
out
Let me just
recently and
say,
said, "I'm a
I'll
not."
never vote for a Republican.
Yeah,
Why would I do that?
yeah,
Right? As long as they are for pro-abortion bans, as long as they are forcing young girls to give birth, forcing women to carry dead babies,
yeah.
not voting to feed children free meals, like, oh, I would never vote for them. I don't see that as an option.
Yeah,
Um,
I got news for you. When I posed that question again, I thought it was going to be a better question. Then I realized it's not. So the beauty is anybody watching it live saw it, but I'm going to edit that part out. I'm editing that question out of this show. What do you
Okay,
think about that?
sure.
All
It
right,
didn't happen.
didn't happen. Be the first time I edited something stupid I said out. All right. So the guy that is leading. Let's get a quick update, by the way. He is 52. All
53.
right. Well, she cut it to 6%. It is
Nope.
now 52.5 Donald Trump to 46.5 for Nikki Haley. So we will certainly keep an eye on that as the night goes on. But Donald Trump was in New Hampshire recently, and he got a little confused. And we've seen this confusion before. He's confused Joe Biden for Barack Obama.
Yep.
He's really starting. And that's the other thing, Lana, is that we keep hearing about how Joe Biden's losing it. Joe Biden's losing it. I hear Joe Biden speak, and maybe every once in a while, I mean, I'm talking about very few times,
Right.
you hear him say something that you're just like, nah, I mean, it's not horrible.
No,
It's a
because I've
little
done it
off.
too. Have you ever watched your show back and you're like, oh, I didn't mean that name or that word? Like, that's the
Yeah.
wrong word.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, you can't even find Fox News or you can't find anybody playing clips of Joe Biden constantly
Right.
with these mental issues.
Right.
This is Donald Trump recently talking about Nikki Haley and her role on the day, January 6th, the day Donald Trump is fully responsible for it. Let's listen.
Let's go. Roll that
By the way, they never report the crowd on January 6th. Nikki Haley, did you know they destroyed all of the information, all of the evidence, everything?
First of all, that's funny. That's his news. That's his move. Nikki Haley, Nikki Haley, Nikki Haley. And in his head, he's like, am I saying the right thing? So
Right.
he
That's it.
pivots
Right.
to something else. And then he pivots. And then this.
And destroyed all of it, because of lots of things. Like Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people, soldiers, National Guard, so whatever they want. They turned it down. They don't want to talk about that. These are
Do we really say soldiers anymore?
As opposed to
Military men and women? Like, I don't really hear.
I'll be honest, I don't know if there is something that we do or do not say anymore when it is
I just
when
don't
it
see
comes to
it
soldiers.
written or hear like when our generals, and I don't hear them ever say. It sounds like they say military. Our military. I don't. Soldiers sound like muskets and stuff. Like, I don't.
Yeah, but I mean,
They are soldiers. I get it, but I just don't hear that anymore.
Yeah, no, maybe you're right, but obviously, let's focus back on
I'm
the.
sorry.
No, this guy said Nikki Haley 3 times I think he realized, maybe I'm a little off. What am I saying? Let me pivot. He pivots and then goes straight back to Nikki Haley and how she didn't. And again, this is another one of these fucking thing that drives me nuts is that Donald Trump is gaslighting people into thinking that Nancy Pelosi was responsible for any protection of January 6th. And she was not. In fact, there's video of her making phone calls trying to get people there.
But it's not even logical. Like, he's the flipping president. How is it logical for a president to go, wasn't me? I wasn't supposed to do that.
Yep.
It's supposed to be them as the president who claims to be doing, I'm in control of everything and I have a big mind and all the other garbage he says. Like, what?
I've been in management before, and the one thing that I really just didn't like anybody saying was, that's not my job. Even, regardless of what it is, if somebody asks you, you don't just say it's not my job. You go, I don't really know, but let me find out. And you find out. The fact that Donald Trump is trying to actually, I should say trying to pass along. He absolutely did pass along the responsibility to Nancy Pelosi to a lot of people who really truly believe that it was her responsibility, which is out fucking outrageous.
But you just have to be a non-thinker. Like, your brain has got to be mush if you're saying that the president wasn't in control, because something in your head should be like, but you're the president. If Nancy didn't take care of it, why didn't you? Like, that should be your next part.
Yeah, again, that just drives me crazy. I got a message here that Donald Trump has been declared the winner of New Hampshire, which again, nobody is shocked. Nobody didn't expect that.
Giving her a speech right now.
She's what?
She's giving her, must be her concession speech.
Is she going to concede, or is she going to still try to pull out North or South Carolina? Because that's her state.
Oh, wait, do you not give concession speeches when you lose the primary in a state? She's talking. Whatever the case is, she's talking. I don't know what the hell
she might be trying to do the rally. Let's go to the next state because we performed better than we thought.
And just lose our asses off. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I know she's got a lot of money behind her. So, maybe there's people saying just keep going.
Yeah.
But, at some point, what is the point? But anyway, Donald Trump certainly could not. He knew the news that he got by mistaking Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi. Do you think he just let it go and said, damn, I just screwed up? Nope, he didn't. He's got excuses after excuses after excuses. This is an excuse that he gave. And he linked it to when he calls Joe Biden Barack Obama.
All right.
But I don't do it because what they do is, if I'm sarcastic or
sarcastic,
a lot of times I'll say, and President Obama is doing a lousy job, meaning that Obama's running the show. They'll say, Donald Trump doesn't know who our president is. No. Because cognitively, I don't know if you saw, but a few months ago.
Oh, my God.
I took a cognitive test. My doctor gave me. I said, give me a cognitive test just so we can, because you know what the standards were. And I aced it. I also took one when I was in.
The idiots
but
in the
I
back.
also took one when I was in. I am not. No.
Yay!
When I go bad, I really think I'll be able to tell you, because someday we go bad. But I've had, and they always say, like Haley, she talks about, we don't need 80-year-old. Well, I don't mind being 80, but I'm 77.
I mean, look at those people in the background, and they're just cheering that he passed a test that basically says, do you know the difference between a giraffe, an elephant, and a tiger?
Right. I used to. It's bizarre. It's just, we always wanted to know how Jim Jones happened.
Yeah.
This is Jim Jones, the
I
guy.
mean, but I guess the people have always been stupid, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And these are the descendants of those fucking idiots
Yeah.
that probably cheered all the other idiots back in the past. But
Yeah.
to walk through life and to be this just
They think a woman today, they asked her in New Hampshire, she was a Trump supporter, and they asked her, like, if someone you knew didn't vote for Trump the first time and they wanted to come back into the fold. It's like, no, we wouldn't accept them. Trump, I think of Trump as the I forgot what the hell she called him, not the Messiah, but like something like that. And she was so serious, like he was brought here to do big things. And I'm just like, what?
Actually, it's funny you say that because I'm going to skip around to this clip real quick. Based on what you just said, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene basically saying that if you're not down with Trump, here's what happens to you.
This is a true change for the Republican Party. It says that not only do we support President Trump, we support his policies. And any Republican that isn't willing to adapt these policies, we are completely eradicating from the party. So it's up to Nikki Haley what she does.
And by the way, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene is running shit for the Republican Party. That tells you everything you need to know about how unserious these people are.
No, it's just about the position of power. There is there's absolutely no policy. And that's what, these people that are voting for Donald Trump, they're not voting for a president. They're just voting for a man. Like they're voting to have Donald Trump be in power, not like president of the US per se. Like they don't care about any of that, because if they cared about that, something would dawn on them that, how come he's not talking about policy? Like he does a whole speech and he's just like talking in the third person. He's telling jokes. He's just like a one-man demented comedy routine. It's like,
well, we're going on 9 years of him speaking, and politically, I should say. And the fact that people just haven't tuned into that tells you everything you need to know, that they don't care about policy. They care more about the fact that he's like, you know how those conservative radio guys are so popular because all they do is just shit on liberals and Democrats and stuff like that. That is more important in their lives than actual policy. And the thing that you and I have talked about before, and this is just, again, it's so really, I don't even want to say sad, because I'm getting pissed off at the fact that we have to surround ourselves with so many fucking idiots, but they don't even realize how at some point how badly this is going to affect them in their lives. It's going to happen very quickly, or it's going to happen in years, but they have no idea. But he trolls libtards, so that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't have any health care. My teeth are falling out of my head.
Yep.
But by golly, Trump is the president and he's my savior. And Trump never once talks about getting you some free dental.
No, you know what? I have no teeth, but guess what? We can say Merry Christmas again.
Yeah, right.
What the fuck are you talking about? They're celebrating shit that never happened anyway.
Right. We saving them babies.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Saving the babies. They don't give a fuck about those babies. They're told to give a fuck about the babies, and then they get into their old riled up dumb shit. So
babies ain't fetuses.
Oh, this is
embryos.
Yeah. I don't know what if the Democrats win in
we can end up in World War II.
in right. That's what oh my God. So if they win, which they should, are we done with this, or are we going to continue to see this ridiculousness?
Oh, what was the question?
If the Democrats win, this year, if Biden wins and let's say we take control of the House and the Senate, are we done with this? I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be completely, as Marjorie Taylor Greene says, eradicated, but are the Republicans going to do what they did when Obama won? I think it was the second one, or it was when they won the House and the Senate under Obama, where they did the what did they call it? Their own. They kind of did a report on their own party and said, "Hey, we need to fix some things." Are they going to do that, or is it done?
Are they going to fix the I don't.
Are the Republicans going to look at themselves? Are they going to reflect and go, "This really may not be the
Not
route"?
as long as we continue to have Gates and Marjorie and those people. I mean, that's when it became unchecked. I mean, they were always crazy, but they were checked.
Right.
And she and Bobart came, and it's almost like Gates had been in check, but then it gave him like the power to be unchecked, right? Because he's not new. Gates has been there, like, but
Yeah.
we haven't heard. We didn't even really hear that much about, other than his boy toy and those kind of things. But
Very strange. Yeah, that whole party is
Nestor,
so
like
weird.
we heard about Nestor.
Now, I did hear recently that there is a re-investigation into Matt Gaetz, but it's being facilitated by Republicans because there is
They don't
this
like him.
there is this Republican on Republican war that is so
Right.
you don't
Got
think
rid
you
of
can understand.
McCarthy.
Yeah.
McCarthy's boys are like getting revenge.
You think Palestine and Israel's hard to follow? Try to follow the fucking shit that's going on with those idiots. I don't know who likes who and who hates who and what the fuck is going on.
Well, hopefully Bobart gets voted out.
Yeah.
Marjorie,
Well, she changed districts.
right. But hopefully that district's like, F you. Like,
Yeah.
you think you're just gonna come here just so you can keep your job?
Yeah.
So hopefully she's gone. Marjorie Taylor Greene will never go. She is in a safe district.
Yeah.
And unless there was just another Republican that beat her in the primary that was just more attractive, or maybe they just get tired of her running her mouth and not doing anything for the district. She's not doing anything for the district. Like,
yeah, well, she clearly isn't. But again, that is a district that is suited for a Marjorie Taylor Greene.
right.
My guess and this is just a guess, I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing that the education level isn't the highest in that
Right.
district.
Right.
And I don't mean to demean anybody that doesn't have a
Right.
high education, because I know people who, maybe haven't even gone through junior high school who are smart people and understand how to discern between reality and stupidity. But probably her district, the majority of them cannot discern between the two. Now I see what you're talking about. Stephen Durant says we could end up in World War II.
Yeah.
That's
I'm sorry.
yeah.
You just thought I just randomly said that, and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, again, that's just Trump getting everything wrong. But Nikki Haley had a response to Donald Trump when she was injected into his conversation about her not being able to protect everybody on January 6th. This was her, which I kind of felt was a response where I think she thought she was strong. I thought it was kind of weak, but here's her response anyway.
At a rally, and he's going on and on mentioning me multiple times as to why I didn't take security during the Capitol riots. Why I didn't handle January 6th better. I wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th. I wasn't in office then. They're saying he got confused, that he was talking about something else. He was talking about Nancy Pelosi. He mentioned me multiple times in that scenario. The concern I have is I'm not saying anything derogatory, but when you're dealing with the pressures of a presidency, we can't have someone else that we question whether they're mentally fit to do this.
First of all, that is derogatory. So I don't understand. They want to just kind of tiptoe around everything.
And who wants that as a president? Like, you're a punk girl. Go sit down. Like, I'm not gonna say anything derogatory.
I know.
Like, it doesn't matter, Nikki. He's still gonna call you racist stuff. He's still going to attack you. Like, it doesn't matter whether you say something derogatory or not, because you are seen as the enemy. So if you are running against Trump, you have to be all in. You gotta sit your damn family down and say, yo, this is gonna be a hard, long ride and a long road, but I'm in it. Do y'all support me? And just move forward. I don't know. Like, that, it is what it is.
Yeah,
like, you're already there.
and it appears to me as Nikki Haley voters are more of an anti-Trump, pro-Nikki Haley voter, as opposed to Chris Christie, who, he was completely anti-Trump, but Nikki Haley at least, has some of these voters like, I cannot vote for Donald Trump. I do like Nikki Haley. So if that's the case, then why is she still kind of tiptoeing? All of those guys, they were all just tiptoeing around him.
She still did. And that's all. They still want his supporters because they need supporters. And it's like, imagine like you're cutting that base and like they're not going to want you regardless. They want Trump. Trump supporters only want Trump. I heard a woman say she would vote for Trump if he was in jail. Like, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing then. Then what is the point of running for president if you're not, like you just said, if you're not all in? Why are you running for president?
Right.
If you think you're saying you want Trump supporters, what Trump supporter, if you're going to be the same thing as Trump, what Trump supporter is going to go, well, I like her better than I like Donald Trump now? Who's going to do that?
It doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess her strategy probably is maybe she doesn't want to anger Trump supporters. So she's, she didn't want those death threats or whatever, but she does want to stay in it. So maybe she can get like the independents on her side, or maybe some Democrats who don't like Joe Biden anymore, who don't know that she supports the same policies as Trump, because they don't know. I heard a woman just didn't know. She's like, oh, I like Nikki Haley because of climate change. I'm big on that. And I'm like, girl.
Yeah. Also, woman, did you know that if you had if somebody raped you, that you're going to be forced to have that baby, or if you feel like you're going to, there's a possibility you could die by any childbirth.
Right.
Yeah.
Just, they don't
confuse people, confuse party, and it confuses me and clearly confuses Lana. But Elise Stefanik is somebody that we have talked about over the last couple of weeks. We did interview on Lana's show, the Quest Show.
Yes.
We interviewed Stephen Holden, who is running against her. And again, Elise Stefanik, as we have said, she came across initially as a Republican who was normal, who, wasn't batshit crazy. She wasn't a MAGA. She didn't just go full MAGA. She is on that train where you are defending the absolute indefensible. This is Elise Stefanik. I mean, what pride do you have in yourself to come up with this answer when you're asked about Donald Trump mistaking Nikki Haley for Nancy Pelosi? Or is it the other way around? Mistaking Nancy Pelosi for Nikki Haley.
Right.
This is Elise Stefanik. God, this is so gross. How did we get here?
Mix-up. The reality is Nikki Haley.
She wasn't speaker.
Nikki Haley is relying on Democrats, just like Nancy Pelosi, to try to have a desperate showing in New Hampshire.
Wait, but he was talking about January 6th.
President Trump has not lost a step. He is a stronger candidate, stronger than he is today, than he was in 2016 and he was in 2020. Compare that to Joe Biden's weakness.
All right, I'm having some issues with my Wi-Fi here in the clips, so there might be a little bit of delay on the clips, but you get the point. Lana.
She is working to be vice president. She wants to be that running mate. Like, that is what she's doing. Because I don't know what little bird told these women that Donald Trump is going to choose a woman running mate, but apparently this is what they think. I, in all of my wildest dreams, cannot imagine it.
Tim Scott has a better chance, and Tim Scott has no chance.
Right. Like, him with a woman as a running mate?
I don't know. I mean, he seems to love the people who absolutely, and it's, I mean, you have to have no pride in yourself and go, I'm going super low. I'm going to defend Donald Trump and say that, no, this wasn't a mistake. He did that on purpose because he's basically calling Nikki Haley Nancy Pelosi, and Nancy Pelosi's a Democrat, and she's she's defending, saying that he said that on purpose.
Right. It's insane. It's insane.
So really
they know that something's being lost there. Like, they know, like, something's setting in with him. Like, he's definitely forgetting stuff. Like, it's getting worse, and they know it, but they will still push him to that position. Like, they still want him to win. They don't care if that man has full-blown dementia or Alzheimer's. They would still vote for him.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
And like you said, and we'll defend it. Donald Trump could start calling Nancy Pelosi mommy, and they would be like, he meant to say that.
Right. That's exactly right. I mean, it is just, and this has been going on for years. And it is, I mean, you literally had a Republican House and Senate let him off the hook, for bribing another country, which he clearly did, which no other president has ever done. And then you also have another president may have done it, but you just don't necessarily know about. And then clearly one of the worst acts of a president, probably the worst act of a president in the history of this country, is starting an insurrection on his own country.
His own country.
And you had them just say, you know what, let him go. He's fine.
Imagine that. He started an insurrection, watched it for 187 minutes.
Yep.
And never did a thing. Then he turned around and made music with the felons, a whole album.
Oh, Jesus.
And he started calling them hostages.
Yeah. He also sat back and watched them basically saying, if we find Mike Pence, he's dead.
Well, he was good with it because he is the one who sicked them on him. He's the one that said Mike Pence didn't do what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah.
And then you heard the guys like, hey, Mike Pence didn't do it. Like, and then them getting worked up, Mike. Oh my God. Like, that was,
Well, it's also wild too that there was a lot of people basically saying, you guys are overreacting on January 6th, that, I mean, nothing really happened. They burst into the Capitol and maybe they were a little bit crazy when they got in there, but nothing really happened. But if you're telling me if any of those nutballs came across Nancy Pelosi or AOC or anybody that they did, Adam Schiff, are you telling me they just would have went up to him and yelled at him or
right? And interesting because even Sean Hannity was calling Donald Trump saying, yo,
yes,
call off your supporters. Ivanka, yo, do something.
Mark Meadows, Kevin McCarthy, all these guys, they were all saying this is not good. Laura Ingraham is another one of those hypocritical idiots that did that. Right. Another picture that was floating around after Elise Stefanik made that remark. There's a picture of her hiding on January 6th underneath, or she's hiding, behind a bench there because she was scared to death that day as well. I can't imagine anybody in that building who was a congressperson who wasn't scared for their lives, and they 100% should have been. Didn't matter what side you were on, because I can guarantee you a lot of those idiots probably only recognize 10% of the faces in there. The rest of them, they don't know what the fuck they look like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if they saw somebody in a suit, that's a bad guy.
Exactly.
Yep.
They didn't know, like, the pens, right? They had the pens. Democrats wore their pens. Republican. Those people wouldn't know, right?
Yeah.
They would know the minorities were probably Democrats. That's
Yeah,
what they would
correct.
assume, right? So Tim Scott and Brian Donaldson, y'all would have went down. Well, was Tim Scott there? I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know if he was there that day. I don't think he was.
Right. So anyway, any black Republicans, Byron Donaldson, you would have went down with the ship. They wouldn't know who you were.
Yeah.
They would have thought you were like, I don't know, Tony Booker.
Right. Yeah.
Cory Booker.
Cory Booker. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just, we're in a weird place, and I really hope that a year from now that we are not talking about this anymore, because I truly believe if we can find a way to pull up the House, the Senate, and the presidency in 2024, that we could take a break from this. I really do believe that. But we have a mountain to climb. Obviously, there's a chance we could lose all three. Chance we can only win 1 out of the 3, 2 out of the 3. 2 out of the 3 is not horrible. Obviously, we're shooting for 3 out of 3. But Donald Trump wanted to challenge Nikki Haley to a cognitive test. This is where we are, by the way, in this climate where we're challenging our political opponents.
That's hilarious.
Not to an IQ test, to a dementia test is basically what we're looking at here. I'm going to play this clip. It's probably going to skip a couple times, but while I'm doing that, it'll only take me 10 seconds. I got to run and get my plug because I forgot to do it, and my battery's getting low. All right.
Play that beam footage.
So Nikki Haley says now she has the 2-person race that she's always wanted. She has been coming after you strongly in the past few days. It's worked both ways. And you've come after her as well. She keeps bringing up your age lately. What do you say about that?
Well, I think I'm a lot sharper than her. I would do this. I would sit down right now and take an aptitude test, and it would be my result against her result, and she's not going to win. She's not going to even come close to winning. In fact, when I heard the word cognitive, I've taken 2 of them now. I took one with Doc Ronnie, who's now a fantastic, White House doctor, and a fantastic congressman from Texas, Admiral, the White House doctor, Ronnie Jackson, and he's now a great congressman from Texas. I took one then, and I took one recently. I think the result was announced, and I aced it.
It was recently announced.
But
what is
I
he
would
talking
say that, I've actually called for a cognitive test for anybody running for president, because I actually think that's a good idea. It'd be nice to have an intelligent person be president.
Oh my God. He played with Lego. He's like,
he's a child. This is a guy not just running for president, but has a chance to win. He's bragging about passing a cognitive test. And he says, yeah, the results got out there. It's like, no, what are you
you would think it was an IQ test.
Yeah. He acted like it was something that was taken and the news was waiting for the results, and they're like, finally, the breaking news, Donald Trump's cognitive test results are out, and here they are.
Like, we know you're an idiot, Donnie, because you paid Michael Cohen to make sure that your college grades did not come out.
Yeah. Yep.
If they were good, you would have absolutely had them out. Like, you would have showed everybody your college scores.
You probably would have showed everybody your tax returns if you were a true billionaire. You would have done all this stuff. This is also the same guy. People forget this. Do you remember when he called a magazine, tried to disguise his voice? You could tell it's Donald Trump. Even the person listening is like, This
Yeah.
fucking guy's calling
Yeah.
me as I think John Barron was his name that he said
Oh
his
my
name
God,
was.
what a good memory you
Yeah. He called
have.
up, said his name was John Barron. He was like a marketing guy or something for Donald Trump, and that all the women are just dying to date him, and he wanted this out in a magazine. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's just not, that's beyond pathetic. That's crazy.
It's psychopath. Like you're
Yeah.
a psychopath. It's like you're a psychopath.
That's clearly somebody who just did not get enough attention or enough love, and
Right.
is
Yeah.
just needs the world to know how unbelievable he is, when maybe
Yeah.
a lot of people were telling him he's not that great. So he took it to another level, and
Right.
it's really sad. And it's really it's more sad to watch a lot of people who probably don't get that same sort of love, and they don't get that same sort of feeling of either accomplishment or self-worth. And for some reason, they get it by listening to this ridiculous clown.
Right. Right.
And I'd like to say I feel sorry for him, but I don't,
Me either.
because they are going to ruin this country.
Yeah. Right. Just because you were hurt doesn't mean you get to hurt people.
That is correct. Just because you hurt doesn't mean you are allowed to destroy democracy. That's correct. All right. You want to have some fun?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's somebody else that is no longer in the race.
Yes, let's do that. Oh my God, hilarious. Joy Reid already dragged him through the mud yesterday. It was amazing.
First of all, Joy Reid should have been either first in line or somewhere in the line to drag this. I'm talking about could this go down as possibly?
Did you watch her last night?
No.
She did it so good. She talked about him so good. She backtracked to the pudding and the three fingers. She was just but go ahead. It was amazing.
I probably was great, because I was thinking about, from the time, not just when he started running for president, but when he started running for governor the first time. I mean, he barely beat Andrew Gillum here in Florida. I mean, literally barely beat him. But his whole campaign was Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, him and his kid building a wall together. And he's like, hey, it's Mr. Trump. All that dumb, ridiculous shit. And he won. Then he ran for governor again here in Florida and became literally a cult hero in Florida, and then started to become a cult hero outside of Florida through the rest of the country. And people were starting to buy into this whole Ron DeSantis thing. Wait a minute, we got another one. We've got another guy that's as badass and trolls the libtards just as good as Donald Trump does. Right. This guy might be our future. This is awesome. So what we need is our daddy Donald to run and have Ron DeSantis as his vice president. They're going to make the strongest team in the history of this country. Mm-hmm. And then Ron DeSantis decided that he got so egotistically huge in his head that he was so great. And I'm sure that stupid, weird wife of his put this in his head.
Weird is a great word for her.
Mm-hmm. And decided that they were going to go up against the guy that they had in their commercials when they were running for governor, and their kid, and praising Donald Trump. For some reason, they thought, this is the time. We are going to go up against our hero, because now we are America's hero. We are the ones that everybody's paying attention to. And Lana, if I'm not mistaken, if you can recall, I think the polls initially were close between the two.
Yeah. In the beginning, you're right. You're right, because everyone thought that Ron DeSantis was the guy, and they put all that money behind him too.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Right.
He was very close, and I think that's what gave him. I think Casey, laid him down, and once she made him take out the garbage, and once she made him do all the household chores, probably back and said, you know what? Here's what's happening. You're the man. you're running for president.
Yeah.
And he's like, yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah. But he got crazy. It's almost like he just got crazy because he wanted to be Trump, but worse than Trump, like on the right of Trump. Like he just felt like if he was just even to the more right, like the MAGAs would be like, oh shit, he's even worse than Trump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He bought into his own hype. And so he put together his campaign.
Horrific.
And from day one, if you remember, he tried to launch it on Twitter with Elon Musk. Elon Musk was going to be, I'm going to get this guy started. So he had Elon Musk on his side right off the beginning. He had $150 million in his campaign just for Iowa alone. $150 million. But he started his campaign. And again, from day one, it was one of the most painful, embarrassing, hard to watch. Actually, it was easy for us to watch because it was more comedy for us. But depending on who you are, easy or hard to watch campaigns, I think, ever since I've been following politics. What about you?
Yeah, that was hilarious. It was hilarious that he launched it on Twitter and that shit didn't work. Spaces. He put it on Spaces and like you couldn't even hear him.
It kept going in and out.
Yeah, it's just awful. And then he started fighting with didn't he fight more with Disney? Like he just started doing woke was just all of the policies were just horrific. And he had that weird, crazy smile, like it was hurting for him to smile.
If you call it a smile,
he had to pay people to go have free beers.
and when he did it and had to interact with the people and talk to them, it's just like, oh, dude, just can you act like a normal human being? Can you just talk? You could tell he didn't want to be there. He even said, Casey's back at the hotel sleep, so I don't, it's just like it's getting late. He said, out of there.
What did he say? Did he say he had to go and watch Casey's kids? Like, what was that line?
That was when Casey decided, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to show the soft side of you. We're going to show the human side where you've got a heart. And they decided they were going to tell the story that when Casey DeSantis got breast cancer, which nobody rooted for and nobody is happy about that. I don't wish breast cancer on any woman on the planet. But she decided she was going to tell that story. And she said that, when I was sick, I was down. Ron was the man. He watched our kids. He took care of. I was like, well, I don't understand. That's not a hero move to take care of your kids, whether you have breast cancer or not. That's not a hero move.
That's just automatic. You shouldn't even have to say he watched it. I mean, I guess you would say, I don't know, it's so weird. It's like he watched the kids, like, okay.
Well, the guy who had a super PAC called Never Back Down, backed down quickly. And he also had a slogan about woke. And that was Florida is where woke goes to die. But now Florida is where anti-woke campaigns go to die. Before we play his endorsement, this was less than 2 weeks ago. This is what he had to say about his then, what do you call it? The guy he was going up against, rival, whatever. This is what he had to say about him.
You can be the most worthless Republican in America.
Which you might have been.
You kiss the ring, he'll say you're wonderful. You can be the strongest, most dynamic, successful Republican and conservative in America. But if you don't kiss that ring, then he'll try to trash you. You know what? You deserve a nominee that's going to put you first, not himself first.
Strong.
You tell him, Ronnie.
Yeah.
He or DeSantis.
Yeah. It's funny is because he got a lot of hype even from the quote unquote mainstream media. I do remember an article, we talked about it before. I can't remember what publication. It might have been Vanity Fair or something like that. where how Ron DeSantis won COVID, another one of those stupid, I got to get my article out and say this before anybody else does, when it turns out he didn't win shit. Per capita, I think Florida was second or third in deaths in this country. And it probably was first because I know Ron DeSantis was hiding a lot of the numbers and fudging them here in this state. So it was probably a lot worse than that he even said. But his campaign is over, and this is him making his announcement and what his future is.
If we don't have a clear path to victory. Accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign. I'm proud to have delivered on 100% of my promises, and I will not stop now. It's clear to me that a majority of Republican primary voters want to give Donald Trump another chance. They watch his presidency get stymied by relentless resistance, and they see Democrats using lawfare this day to
right in
attack
line.
him. Well, I've had disagreements with Donald Trump, such as on the coronavirus pandemic and his elevation of Anthony Fauci. Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge. He has my endorsement because we can't go back to the old Republican guard of yesteryear, a repackaged form of warmed-over corporatism that Nikki Haley.
So what the fuck is wrong with them with these talking points? Got to get into Fauci. Like, what the fuck?
I still don't understand the Fauci thing. I mean, I literally don't understand. It's not even just, hey, you know, this guy came out and said some things about COVID. We're a little bit upset about it. We think that maybe he overstated a few things, which I'm still not sure that he did. But let's say he did. I think at worst, that's about what it was. But they want him in jail or dead.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's insanity.
It's insane. Because he said, wear a goddamn mask and maybe y'all should shut down because this thing is spreading and killing people.
It's so crazy. I still don't understand. What did Dr. Fauci say that even just somebody like you or I can go, maybe he was off on that? I think, first of all, when it comes to COVID and you're talking about a new pandemic that is taking over the country, of course, somebody's going to get some things wrong. But I don't think Dr. Fauci came out and did anything nefarious and said, I'm going to do this on purpose because I want to fuck over this country.
Right. I just want everything to shut down so my life can be hard as well.
Right.
This doesn't make sense. It's like, what?
I mean, we're living in a country now where a fucking doofus quarterback is on a sports show talking about he wants to debate Dr. Fauci. I mean, who are these fucking people?
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
And we have to deal with this every day. I was talking about the other day, I said, you know, if there's anything depressing about life, is that unfortunately, intelligent people like myself and like Lana Quest, we have to walk amongst these dingbats. And some respect these dingbats, their words and their views are being associated, and they're also being taken, I mean, not even seriously, but they're being compared to, should I vote for Biden or should I vote for Trump? I can't really tell because they're both crazy or they're both.
Oh my God, both bad choices. Like, how the fuck is it a bad choice? Like, you have one, like, the thing about the Biden administration is like every day they are trying to make things better.
Correct.
Like, they're like, okay, they're still suffering. They're still suffering, even though the economy is doing well. What can we do? Oh, let's stop these overdraft fees, these overages. Maybe we can save Americans money like that. Like, it's the fucking small things.
Junk fees on airline tickets.
And nobody gives them credit for that. Like, maybe they just don't know, but it's like, when they when your overdrafts disappear and the banks aren't charging you as much, What the fuck? You thought it was like a magician that just like made that shit happen? Someone made that happen for you.
Maybe he needs to sign his name on it, just like
Maybe
Trump did with the stimulus checks. Who the fuck knows? Maybe that worked. Maybe it was a genius move for him to do that because it resonated and it stuck with people who really needed that money, who said, oh my God, this is coming from Donald Trump. But they didn't realize the second time they got it, it came from Joe Biden. Even though Joe Biden was president, where
the
the fuck
first one didn't even come from Donald Trump. It came from Congress.
Correct. That is correct. That's correct. It came from the Joe Biden administration. And it came from the Trump administration, which, by the way, you know, you needed Democrats on board in order to pass that. So,
and who probably came up with the idea? Stop playing right now.
Right.
Do we really think that the Republicans in Congress was like, hey, I think we should get stimmies to, you know, the Americans? They didn't even come up with that. They just signed on. It was bipartisan. And
the
then,
only thing, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, remember, like, what did we have? Like 2 bouts of stimmies, and then Republicans were like, "Stop, halt, no more."
That's correct. Yep. And you know what? Looking back, there may, I don't know, they may have overdone it, but I don't think. And I'm just talking about from an economic standpoint. I'm not talking about whether it should or should not been done. But at the end of the day, if somebody asked me, should we have done it or not done it? I'd say fucking do it, because the American people at some point need some money back from, you know, this. So, because if this were,
and it kept people out of poverty, like people needed that. Kids needed to eat. Parents weren't working. Some people took advantage.
People got $600, maybe $1,200, whatever it is. But if you were a business and you didn't even need it, you got one of those PPP loans for $200,000 that you didn't have to pay back, or $120,000. And some people in Congress got that. Some famous people got it. Some people with plenty of money got it. In fact, I would say that there was probably a decent percentage of the people who did get that money did not need it.
Didn't Jared get it? Jared Kushner got it.
Did
Jared?
he? Yeah.
Jared, Kanye, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yep. Yeah, there's a few of those Congress people. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, the one out of all those motherfuckers, didn't Lauren Boebert too? Didn't she have that shit restaurant where and when people ate there, they got diarrhea? And that's a true story, by the way. But they're all just hypocritical assholes, all these people. And all they do is throw out shit that's not happening and gets people thinking that it is. And they go, oh my God, can I live with my child getting attacked by 12 trans people in the bathroom? Even though I don't know a person that it's ever happened to. It's never happened to me. There are people in Iowa going, Jesus Christ, we got to shut down that Mexican border because all these Mexicans coming into our state, even though there's not one Mexican in Iowa.
Fentanyl is killing everybody from Alaska. It's like come across the border.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It's amazing, man. And you know, I will say there are some House Democrats that are really fighting back on this, and they are phenomenal. We played Jasmine Crockett. We played Jared Moskowitz, who is awesome. Oh, he beat them up on the border the other day, just going off on them about, you know, this has been going on for decades, just decades. And you guys are acting like Joe Biden just came into office and all this just started. Which is just not true. But let's go back. I'd say let's play a game, but it's not really a game. I just want you to watch these 2 clips, Lana, and see if you could tell me what the fuck Donald Trump is talking about. This is, again, I will challenge anybody watching this clip, if it's a clip or if you're watching the show. I am going to challenge you right now within the last, give me a number of days, Lana.
3.
I'm going to extend it. I'm going to say even 30 days.
The
last 30 days. Find me as many Joe Biden clips of him saying something as ridiculous and crazy as this as Donald Trump. Now, in 3 days, you can't do it. I think that's just too easy because this was just the other day. Donald Trump. Lana, what's he talking about?
Let's go.
Jungles of Vietnam. They delivered a swift and and you know that sweeping. It was swift and it was sweeping like nobody's ever seen anything happen. A victory in Operation Desert Storm. A lot of you were involved in that.
People
A
clapping
lot
at
of
nothing.
you were involved. That was a quick one.
Quick one.
He was sweeping
was a quick
Vietnam, and then it went to Desert Storm,
You
and
said that
then a
was
lot of you
quick
were in
one.
it. Huh?
The storm was a quick one?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like, it wasn't years? Like, what wasn't it?
Listen, I'm just trying to figure out. He started off with Vietnam, then he said sweeping, and then he just went on to Desert Storm. Was he supposed to be talking about Desert Storm the whole time? Because maybe the people that were there, because he goes, you guys were there, you guys, a lot of you were there.
I don't know. I don't know. His skin is turning from orange to like some type of red. I don't know what's happening with him.
Also, too, if you are watching this clip and you go, you guys are only playing a 30-second clip, you didn't play the full context, I dare you to show me the full context of what the fuck that guy just said.
Doesn't get any better.
There's no way you can roll that for 30 more seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, where I go, oh, fuck, I'm in bed. Yeah, that's what he was talking about. Holy shit. All right, here's the next one, Lana. What's he talking about?
Capable of solving even the smallest problem, the simplest of problems we can no longer solve. We can't do anything. We are an institute and a powerful death penalty. We will put this on. We have
that when I heard that, I was like, why is he talking about the death penalty? Where did that come from? We're powerful, and then he says the death penalty.
You can go to like an AI site and say, come up with something that Donald Trump would say that sounds really stupid. And I don't think AI would be able to come up with something as stupid as that.
And then it's like, and that's why them cult followers, like it really is, because they know what they're doing. They put that crazy music on, and then he does that stupid fucking sing-song voice, like some type of fucking mega pastor. It's like he's about to, if he passed the plate around, he would get money.
No question about it. He is the snake oil salesman, that evangelical.
Yeah.
He is the guy that says, send me money. We need it for God. We need it for Jesus. And next thing you know, the guy that is getting the money for God and Jesus is driving a $200,000 Lamborghini.
He could have a mega church. He missed his calling. Like,
no question.
That should be what, and he don't have to read the Bible. He doesn't have to quote not one scripture.
Lana, he wouldn't be in zero legal trouble.
Right.
He would get all the money because those churches aren't taxed, which they should be. But you're right. He missed his calling. He should have been one of those evangelical preachers. Because he could clearly say whatever he wants. You could show a clip of Donald Trump being asked, what's your favorite Bible verse? And all he says is, I don't want to get into that.
Right.
Are you a New Testament or an Old Testament guy? No, I don't, both.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And the people would clap.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, am I happy that I'm not one of those people, but it drives me this crazy and makes me this angry? Or would I rather be one of those people being so out there, not understanding how fucking stupid I am and being happy? Or are they happy? They can't be.
I mean, they don't look happy.
They're not happy. You're right.
They don't have teeth. Like, they're suffering.
Yeah.
And the only thing that relieves their suffering is, like you said earlier, Donald Trump sticking it to the libtards. Like, that makes them happy.
Okay, but then what's relieving our what is it that's making us happy? So I have to reevaluate this.
I don't know, drinking.
Maybe, but that wears off. The problem is their stupidity stays. You wake up and I wake up maybe with a headache and I'm like, fuck, I wish I didn't do that last night. They wake up going, I went to a Trump rally and I am so happy
No,
that
I'm
he said
happy to
something
not.
about Nancy
Yeah,
Pelosi and Dr. Fauci.
I'm happy to not be them. Like, I'm just happy to have critical thinking and be able to Google stuff to find some answers. And that's just wow right there.
So we are okay with the frustration
Yeah,
of being not one of them.
yeah. I would prefer not to be that person, because that person is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't see, like, at the end of the day, what good is going to come from that? Like, I don't understand what good is ever going to come from. But they've always been there, you know.
No? Well, I got a more challenging question for you then. All right. Let's say the circumstances are this. Would you change if you knew Donald Trump wins the presidency, they win the Senate, and they win the House?
Would I change to what?
Would you change to saying, you know what, I'd rather just be one of those idiots, because if they win the House, the Senate, and the presidency, I don't care anybody. Life will be miserable.
I will, but I'll still be on Twitter and I'll still be calling him an idiot and calling out the lies and doing whatever, because that's what we can do for the next 4 years, and pray that there's another election. Like,
so we're staying strong, is what you're saying.
I mean, you know what I mean? He can't do it. It can't be that way forever. Like, that's the light at the end of the
Can it?
I mean, it's what I try to teach my kids, right? Like, it's not the end of the if you it is going to be okay at the end. And if it's not okay, that means it's not the end, right? So, like, if it's going to be okay at the end of the day and it's not okay, that means it's not the end of the day. And the end of the day doesn't mean the end of this day. It could be at the end of in a month or 2 months. Like, but it's going to, the sun is going to come out eventually. Like, it's just, it can't be forever. Donald Trump is not forever. Trumpism is not forever. Like, it sucks right now. We're in the shit. Trump is 77. He's not forever.
Yeah.
Right? And once he is gone, of course, Trumpism is going to be here, but there's never going to be him. Not for a while. Like, it may not be in our lifetime that we see another person rise to the level of who he is. That's going to take a while. Like, it won't even, DeSantis isn't going to be able to just step in there and be Trump. That he's not going to be accepted like that. Those people are going to mourn Trump for a very long time.
Yeah, and see, this is why we have Lana on here, because she's America's mom. That's what she is right now. That just made me feel so much better about our position. And, you know, I did think about this a little bit more too. Let's say they take over everything and they try to say, we're changing all the rules. I'm going to be president forever. As fucking crazy as our Supreme Court is, I don't even think they would allow that.
No. It will be just they're not going to allow it. He's not going to be able to control the military like he thinks, right?
Yeah.
Like, he may be able to get rid of some people in some places in the federal government, fire who he can fire, like who he can fire, but there's a lot of jobs that'll be secure. And again, he ain't gonna live forever. He just isn't going to live forever. And then once he's gone, we'll get someone in, and then things will be a little better. Like, because you know what? If Trump gets elected again and he does that shit, do we really think that another Republican will ever come into office if we have another election? I don't think Democrats.
I mean, it all depends. It all depends on how they set things up, because then you're talking about appointing judges all across the country, and then you have they're gonna like overturn a lot of the gerrymandering districts and all that stuff, and that's where it gets scary,
right?
So can they do a complete 100% overhaul? They probably can't, but can they do enough damage to where a Democrat is going to have a very hard time winning in districts that they normally wouldn't have that hard of a time, and reversing basically everything that, the strides that have been made based on some of the gerrymandering that's going to go along this country that was illegal, clearly, and has been rectified and corrected.
So hopefully, even if he becomes president, we still have local governments, and we've been doing pretty good in those elections.
They've been doing good in every election.
Right.
That's the
So-
thing, is that they beat when a crazy person runs, the
Right.
crazy person loses 95% of the time. And
Right.
I'm good with those numbers. I'm
Right.
great with that math.
Right, right. So hopefully that's the case, right? We continue to win those local seats, and we take those the state senates and those things, so that we can change.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of, obviously Donald Trump's not running the ship. Donald Trump is the spoke idiot for the Steve Bannons of the world and the Stephen Millers of the world. And you like that, the spoke idiot? And they're the ones running the show. They're the ones who have mapped this out. Donald Trump hasn't mapped shit out. You know what he's mapped out? He mapped out his fucking directions to McDonald's. That's what he mapped out.
He mapped out his nap.
Right. He mapped out his nap. Yeah. And he's mad. That's what the other thing too is. He's such a great president. He loved this country. He didn't know shit. He didn't do shit. He doesn't understand shit.
Correct.
And you fucking idiots thinks he's some brilliant guy that is leading the country. Our economy was so much better when Donald Trump was there. It's like, oh God, that drives me crazy. Drives me crazy.
Yeah. Me too.
All right. We can wrap it up, Lana.
Okay.
I don't know. I
like and subscribe.
Damn it. I'm gonna put this up here real quick, even though we're at the end of the show. Boom. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. Yeah, all that shit. Just do it. Just do it. But I think we'll be okay. I think at the end of the day, we'll be okay.
Yeah. And if we're not, it's not the end of the day. Maybe the end of the next day.
I know. Okay. All right. Well, I'll be reaching out to you a lot during that time. That's the case. So, but you got anything else?
No, I do not.
No?
No, I'm just happy I worked out already. So,
would you like to promote your show?
Oh, sure. Check me out on Thursdays.
Yeah.
The Quest Show, 8:00.
Or a sneaky show on Wednesday.
Or I know. I was like, I just gotta do this now. I tell you, that's why I don't play well with others, because I never know. Like, I just kind of like now, I don't even know if Thursday will be. Maybe I'll do a show Thursday, but I did one last Wednesday.
I know. I was flipping through and I was like, wait, today's what day? I got confused.
I know. It's bad.
All right. Well, Thursday night at 8:00.
Thursday. I may just pop one and just ramble.
Yeah. She does a great job. So the Quest Show Thursday night on YouTube.
Yeah.
I encourage you to watch it live. I also encourage you to go to her page, her YouTube channel, watch the clips, watch the old shows, everything.
Yeah.
You can even see our interview with Stephen Holden.
Yes, we'll be repeating what we talk about here.
Yeah.
I think that's why, like, when Thursday comes, I'm just like, I already talked about this stuff.
I know. So, and that's why, look, if there's anything you want to, I'm inviting you to say, if there's anything that you have planned for your show on Thursday, then just send me a text and say, don't talk about this.
No, it's fine. It's okay. Sometimes it sharpens me up for Thursday too, right?
Actually, I take that back. You are fine. You'll be able to handle it no matter what.
Yeah. All right. Hey, have a good weekend.
Thank you. You do the same.
We'll be talking.
Goodbye, everybody.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Later.